Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlip. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Well, I want to quickly run through some of the news. Obviously, let me preface this by saying I am in the third quarter of Chiefs-Eagles, so it's still relatively early. I don't have all of the news and notes, but I've got a good amount as far as especially a look ahead to some of the games that we have coming up, some of the competition, the NFC North, blah, blah, blah. So I want to rip through that real quick. Happy Monday to everybody. We made it. We're still 2-0. Not everybody can say that. Most people can't say that. First of all, the seemingly, I guess, biggest news is Joe Burrow went out in his Sunday contest. This is, I wouldn't even say potentially, this is seemingly 100% big news for the Green Bay Packers. As of right now, again, this is the information that I'm going off of as of right now, which is early information. But right now, Joe Burrow has a toe injury. It is being described as turf toe with possible torn ligaments. Recovery could take several weeks depending on severity. Now, he could be back relatively soon. He could be back by or prior to the Packers game. But if there are torn ligaments, you're looking at 4+ weeks, which is going to put it right at about that point where the Packers are playing the Cincinnati Bengals. So we may have in the coming weeks here the Cleveland Browns, who are looking not great, the Dallas Cowboys, who almost lost to the Giants and just signed Jadeveon Clowney. That's some other news here. I wonder why. This was like immediately after that game, Jerry Jones picked up the phone and said, fine, let's sign him. Then we get a bye week, and then we have the Cincinnati Bengals. If Joe Burrow is not playing in that game, there is no reason why the Packers shouldn't exit Week 6 at 5-0. After that, we would have the Arizona Cardinals, Steelers, Panthers, etc. All very winnable games. So we'll keep an eye on the Joe Burrow thing. We'll see how it goes. But that situation is going to be very, very big for the Packers. 49ers, unfortunately, did go on to beat the Saints, despite all the praise for Mac Jones. Wow, he did such a great job. They narrowly won that game. They won by 5 points. So, almost got them. And apparently, the feeling is that Brock Purdy, they're not feeling good about him being back in Week 3. I don't know who exactly they're playing, but still hoping that they can fall a game while Purdy is out. Some other injuries that happened. Justin Fields apparently left with a concussion. The hope that they would be somewhat competitive did not happen. Kevontae Turpin of the Dallas Cowboys left the Giants game with a neck injury. We play Dallas Week 4, so that's in 2 weeks. So that's another one we're going to have to keep an eye on. And then finally, Bears cornerback Jalen Johnson aggravated his groin injury. We don't play the Bears for like a million years, and I don't think the Bears are going to be much trouble for anybody. But obviously it's important. It's one of the best players that they have on their team, and any chance of a Bears comeback of any kind dramatically goes down if Jalen Johnson's out for some time. Again, don't know the status as of right now. We'll have to just wait and see. But why don't we go ahead and take a minute and talk about what happened today. Let's talk about it. I know it can be a little uncomfortable for some of you, but we gotta talk about it. So the Bears and the Lions played football. I just want to look through a couple things before I read through some details about this game. I just want to remind everybody about a couple things that are facts, not opinion. These are facts. Okay. Number 1. Caleb is not a bust. Off the table. That's a fact. Okay? Fact of life. It's like gravity, death, taxes, all that stuff. He's good. Okay? He's very good. Number 2, Ben Johnson is a genius. Everybody knows this, and it's not debatable. Everything he does is smart. All of his plays are smart. He's better than everybody else. He is the best head coaching candidate in a generation. He is a transformative candidate. He single-handedly made the Detroit Lions an incredible offense. Not debatable. Also, something that we know, the Lions losing Ben Johnson means their offense is going to get worse because he's a genius. He's a super big brain genius guy that makes really bad offenses look elite when they're not. Because it's impossible, just in case you didn't know, for a team to be talented because of the players. So if they score lots and lots of points, you have to assume it's the offensive coordinator that is a genius. And you have to further assume that if he becomes a head coach, which is a completely different position, that he's going to be great at that too. Do you understand everything that I've told you is a documented fact in the science of the museum? Okay, it's written in the scrolls of the science and the math. Okay? This is real, immovable, unchanging, eternal. Let's go over a couple things here. First off, Bears did end up losing this game in a nail-biter. Bears only fell short by 7 points in the first quarter, second quarter and fourth quarter, and 10 in the third. So as you can see, very close, like one score in every quarter except the third, and even that was just one score plus a field goal. So the Bears kept it super tight, real close. One score difference could change each quarter individually. The Lions did find a little bit of success offensively, even without Ben Johnson, but were, even with the win, even with, obviously every ref call going in their favor, they barely got over 50 points. Also worth noting, Detroit lost their defensive coordinator, who is now with the Jets, which is going really well, as the Jets fall to 0-2, losing by 20 points to Buffalo. They also lost their defensive coordinator, so expect the defense to continue putting up games like this where they allow more than 20 points. Like the Bears just sailed right past 20, directly smack dab into 21. Jared Goff, 334 yards and 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, 155.9 passer rating. Caleb, though, unlike Goff, looking phenomenal out there. He cleared 200 yards like it was nothing. 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, and barely had 1 interception. In fact, it was almost 2. Caleb is right on track to actually break the record that no Chicago Bears quarterback has broken, clearing the 4,000-yard mark. He's actually not on pace to do that, but if he gets better, then he will be. So that's monumental in and of itself. Tyson Bagent, the guy everybody thinks is better, only threw for 27 yards, which is historically awful. He's terrible. Just keep him out of here. Did have a higher passer rating, but small sample size. I'm more focused on the 27 yards, which is a joke. And so, if you look at some of the team stats, for example, the Lions ran less plays. Time of possession was almost equal, 29.5 to 30.5. But the Bears ran more plays. Almost the same amount of yards. The Bears 339, the Lions 511. And so look, obviously there's been some questions, not just about the Lions and the Bears, but about the Packers, right? You've got this Lions team, and as a Packer fan, you want to believe that we faced a really good Lions team, right? Of course you want to believe that. But the reality is the Green Bay Packers were able to shut down not the Lions offense from 2024, which was, a historically good offense. That's not what the Packers shut down. They shut down the Lions offense from 2025. And that's a different offense. You know what I mean? So 52 points, not good enough. Not good enough to get me to believe that the Lions are any good at anything, that they still have a good offense. What did that prove? Nothing. Simple fact of the matter is, last week, the Green Bay Packers held a really bad offense to 13 points. Yes, it's a low number. 13 is low. I mean, it is what it is. But, I mean, consider the source, son. So I think we need to be skeptical. I think we need to be cautious. Cautiously optimistic, of course. As Packer fans, we should be optimistic. But let's be realistic, too. Okay? Let's be realistic about the fact that the Packers beat two teams that were in the playoffs last year, not this year, that had good offenses last year, not this year. Speaking of Washington, what a joke. Packers held Detroit to, 13 points, I said? Washington comes in, immediately starts to show the weakness of the defense by putting up even more and scoring 18 points. And we were skeptical coming in, right? I mean, they look like they have a good offense, but it was against the Giants. And the Giants aren't very good. Giants, by the way, absolutely embarrassed, as everybody thought. Like Dallas, who almost beat the Eagles, is going to march into, it was in Dallas, but they're gonna just obliterate the Giants, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, they drove down in overtime like 9 different times and ended up getting the W there, winning by 3 points, 40-37. So if there was any sense, again, that, maybe the Giants are a little bit better, than in the past, nope, terrible. So I think it's safe to say the Washington Commanders and the Detroit Lions at this point are complete frauds, which would make, by extension, the Green Bay Packers frauds. I'm just relaying the news to you. That's all I'm really doing right now. All right, don't get mad at me. I'm just calling it like it is, and that's just what it is. I'm a straight shooter, folks. That's what I am. So next week, the real question that I have is, can the fraud Packers win their Week 3 matchup? Week 3, the Green Bay Packers have to play the Cleveland Browns, and that could be a tough one. I know people think the Browns aren't very good, but they are. Okay. Do they have offensive line issues? Yes, but our pass rush is pretty fraudulent, so I wouldn't really expect much to come from that. And yes, they did just lose this week, and yeah, it was by a decent margin, 41-17, but it was Baltimore, a real football team, not like the Packers. So if you think we're going to just beat Cleveland real nice and easy like, I think you're out of your mind. It's going to be a dogfight, folks. It's going to be an absolute dogfight. By the way, the Chiefs fell to the Eagles. It's kind of like Lions-Bears. I hate to say I'm happy about it because I don't want the Eagles to win, obviously. But the Chiefs are now 0-2, first time since 2014, I think they said. And are 0-3 if you go back to the Super Bowl, which I believe is the first time since Reed has been there, if I'm not mistaken. First time since Mahomes, maybe. I don't know. First time for something. First time in a long time. Anywho's, why don't we take our first break? We'll be right back. Well, I know we already kind of went over the Detroit and Chicago thing, but it was pretty depressing having to go over all that and how much the Packers are probably pretty terrible. So why don't we have a little bit of fun and take a look at how Chicago Bears fans are handling their situation. An article from USA Today, written by Christian DeAndrea. The Ben Johnson Bears look great for one drive per game, which is hilarious because that's when the offense is running their scripted plays that they've been practicing all week. You know, the other funny thing about that is that's going to be, because everybody's talking about that, that's going to be the thing moving forward. Everybody's going to watch the Bears, and they're going to assume that they're going to look good, and after that, it's going to be a talking point, and I hope that it continues because it's a hilarious talking point. That Caleb and the brilliant play caller can't figure out what to do after the scripted plays. Drive 1, 7 points. This is 2025 Chicago Bears. So 2-game average, but it'll be a fun thing to track. It'll be like the whole punting battle compared to the quarterback, which we should probably look into just to see if there's anything there. But this is going to be the new thing this year to track. Drive 1 for the Bears this year, 7 points per drive, 67.5 yards per drive, 4 first downs per drive, 0 sacks taken per drive. Any other drive, on average, 1.14 points, 21.5 yards, 1.19 first downs, and 0.29 sacks per drive. So 7 points down to 1, 67 yards down to 21, 4 first downs down to 1, 0 sacks up to a quarter sack, let's say. By the way, the competition, the punter has punted for 478 yards. Caleb, 417. Oh, man, there is almost too much here. It's unbelievable, the wealth of just amazing content. We are going to go in absolutely no particular order here, just because I have about 7,500 tabs of greatness that are currently open right now, and I don't feel like organizing them. But why don't we kick it off with, and you can call this a laughing at the enemy, I suppose. Let's just lean into it because this is going to be fun. Let's start off with our buddy here. If you're a Packers fan and don't know this guy, and I should know his name, but I don't, you'll know his voice. Then be prepared to get acquainted to one of the all-time Packer greats, which, by the way, some of the best Packers, whether it's fans, players, coaches, whatever, are Chicago Bears. So this is we're going to call him a Packer great.
Gibbs. Oh my gosh. Look how easy it is for the Lions. Pressure's coming. Go Rome. Rome. Come on. That's how we respond. He's in. Come on, defense. They're run the ball, chat. Swift. Oh my God, the ball's out. Oh my God, and the Bears have fumbled. Pressure, Caleb. He escapes. Oh my God. And it's intercepted. Play fake. Oh, he's wide open, chat. Touchdown, Lions. Play fake. Caleb. That's Rome. Come on, baby. Touchdown, Bears. They're going to fucking score, aren't they? And there it is. Touchdown, St. Brown. Unbelievable. Goff's taking a shot. Where is the defense? I'm turning it off, Chad. I'm done, man. I can't stand this team.
They had just gone up from 31 points at that point. There was plenty more scoring. He just completely gave up. There's another 20 points to be scored there. And like I said on social media, as much as I start to feel bad for Bears fans, remember, these are the guys that in 8 months from today are going to tell you why the team got so much better and you're in big trouble. This is year 2 in Ben Johnson's offense. It's year 2 of Caleb in Ben Johnson's offense. We just drafted X, Y, and Z. We just did this. We got a new GM, probably. By the way, that is the biggest thing right now. If you don't know, and I'm guessing many of you do, because we've done this many times, Bears fans always have a scapegoat. There is always a scapegoat. Whenever things go south, there is always a scapegoat. It's the coach. It's this. It's the... And they need to do that because as soon as that person's fired and replaced, everything's fixed. The scapegoat right now is Ryan Poles. That's it. They hate Ryan Poles. Which makes sense because he's been dog crap. But they always pretend everything's perfect until things go south, and then they have to find their scapegoat. And unfortunately, Ryan Poles, you are the one. So then he's going to be the problem. And then when he gets moved on from and they get a new GM, well, boys and girls, now you're all in trouble. Max Markham, Bears fan. Caleb Williams is averaging 208.5 yards per game, on pace for 3,753 yards, well off the 4,000-yard goal. And everybody in the comments is really angry because by well off, he's talking 250. That's not well off. That's close. Okay, you go ahead and fight him on that. That's fine. That's great. Here's another Bears fan for you.
Why the do I have to be a Bears fan? This team gives me such little happiness in my life. The only happiness they give me is in the fucking off season when we get hyped up about the team, and then when the games start, We get absolutely destroyed, reality strikes, and we just realize that we are still a pathetic franchise.
I like how they let themselves off the hook, by the way. We get excited, and then we realize that the Bears are still bad. Oh, you didn't realize that you were wrong and stupid and you should stop doing that? That's not what you realized? You didn't realize you were the one that made a mistake? That you were stupid again? That's not what you realized. You realized that they're bad, and that's it. I didn't realize anything else. Okay, just wondering. So I should expect this again next year, because you've realized nothing about your own tendency to do this stupid nonsense. Anywho, let's check in on another resident Bears fan.
Action. Bears get their fucking asses kicked by the Detroit Lions. 52-21 on the road. Didn't even call it a must-win. Was just staying off the top. It would be nice if the Bears were competitive today against Dan Campbell. Ben Johnson going back to where he learned how to call plays. It would be nice if we could say we're a better football team than we were last week. It would just be nice. Obviously, I didn't say must win. But if we could at least have a sign of fucking life, then I could feel good about the fact we have 15 more games this season. You know, we're folks. We are, and I don't need to make a big deal out of this. We're going to spend a lot of time on the Monday Morning Cub Show just tomorrow, just getting into the state of Chicago sports, which is officially brought to you by I'm going to have a ton of an official beverage sponsor for the Monday Morning Cub Show, for lineup previews, for post games going forward through playoff season. Just a sweet little kick here, guys. It's a watermelon. People haven't even had a Mexican soda before, and I'm going to start talking about this stuff. People are going to feel good because you're having a thirsty vaquero, but what you're not feeling good about is the fact that the Chicago Bears, we're gutless, we're lifeless, we're clueless, we're pussies. We get by the refs. I know we get at the end of the second half, but like at some point you have to come back and say Jared Goff goes 17 for 17 for 231 with 4 straight touchdowns. You got to ask yourselves, the refs aren't in our fucking secondary. They're not in our meeting rooms. They're not the ones calling it. Is it Dennis Allen's fault? Whose fault is it? Do we not get pressure on the quarterback? Is our front seven just a bunch of fucking soft Some nice bite to this. Some real nice bite. Just a watermelon with a little bit of kick on it. I'm trying to figure out why we suck so fucking bad. Interior line upgraded. Quarterback in his second year. Relationships established with the skill players. So they've all been together plenty long enough. We invest in the interior front four. We bring in Dennis Allen.
Okay, couple things. Just real quick. I hate to interrupt his flow here. First of all, he repeated himself. So as he's listing things, he said something twice. So it's like, number 1, we fixed the offensive line. Number 2, year 2 in the system. Number 3, we fixed the offensive line. You can't do that. Also, that whole offensive line upgrade thing was always massively overstated by Bears fans, which is something that Bears fans, and I think fans in general, refuse to ever acknowledge, is that different doesn't necessarily mean better. So there's that.
I'm trying to figure out, why do we fucking suck so much, and will it get worse? Is week 3 going to be worse than week 2? Because week 2 is so much worse than week 1. These are the questions I have in my head. Tune in the Monday Morning Cub Show. We got plenty of stuff coming tomorrow. It's good to see you guys. Thanks to everybody again who supported Sturk Family Farms at the pop-up yesterday at 901 West Randolph. Just showed up, had a great time. You know, Bears in Detroit today. Absolute fucking travesty. You know, Suzanne, I miss you. I'd love to those. Otherwise, go Cubs and go Bears.
I had no idea what the end of that was all about. That was wild. Hopefully you can't even figure out what he said. I love his ability to weave in and out of completely random other things. But yeah, I'm going to be bleeping out his entire sponsorship deal there. Why don't we take a break here? We got more Bears fans' reactions coming up. Vikings also looking a little not super great, although the game is still pretty close, just about to halftime. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
All right, Bears post game from the boiler room. It's like 7 minutes left, but we're already 50 burger, so who gives a fuck? I had just like the darkest reality like 20 minutes ago that who knows how many falls we got left on this earth. And to be stripped of another football season 2 weeks in is just so brutal. It's so brutal, especially like you look at it like around. It's 81 degrees in Chicago today. People could have been having a nice day, but this is what the whole city did, is watch this pathetic excuse for a game. I left Vegas at 3 a.m. I had 45 minutes of sleep yesterday just because I wanted to be in Chicago for week 2 of the Bears game. And I don't know why we do it anymore. I mean, I don't know. I know why we do it, because we care and we fucking love this team. But, I mean, at some point, like, the decision makers, like, extending Ryan Poles for no fucking reason 2 months ago. I just, like, this team just don't love us back. And it fucking hurts and it sucks. And it's unfathomable to put on the clown makeup again and do it 50 more weeks. It just truly is. So I got nothing. I sound like a broken record, and I don't want to do that, but it just fucking sucks, man. It just fucking sucks.
From the same organization over at Barstool, Big Cat says 50 burger, disgusting. Ryan Clark says, well, I guess Detroit's offense doesn't suck. Maddie says, holy crap, we're worse than last year. How is this possible? I ask that question every year. I've never been a believer in the Bears, but I always assume it's impossible they get worse, and I'm always wrong about that. To be fair, I don't know that they're going to be worse than last year. They almost beat the Vikings, and the Lions are pretty good, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to start gassing up the Bears now. Today's not the day for that, but there's a possibility for sure they end up with more wins than last year. Portnoy, also Barstool. I honestly feel bad for all my friends in Chicago. It's one thing to lose, but to be absolutely humiliated like this and know you have no hope or future, it must be really demoralizing. Top comment from Scotty says, is Trump sending the troops to Chicago to save the Bears? Oh, yeah. Burns says, seriously, where do you go from here? Will Compton put a video together. It's 2.5 minutes, so I won't do the whole thing, but it's the title says it all. Imagine being a Bears fan. And he says, my heart is with that city. I mean, it's like a tragedy just befell Chicago. To be fair, it did, but Jacob Infante says, I want something to be positive about. So how about I make a 2026 Bears mock draft or something this week? Top comment, Boomhauer says, why? Even if you find good players, it's not like Poles is going to draft them. He'll probably draft a long snapper in the 4th. Oh, come on. Are we already making fun of the drafting a specialist in the 4th round? I thought that was the greatest thing that anybody's ever done. Somebody else commented, the Bears and the Chiefs have the same record, which is actually a very good observation. Not because it's a good point, but I'm glad they said it because it reminds me of all the times that people do things like this. Like, oh, he has the same amount of yards as Mahomes had. You mean when Mahomes was bad? This is a great example of that thing people do where they find something that used to be good that's now bad, and they say, see how the bad that is? It's just like us, so we're good now because they used to be good. It's so stupid. By the way, I've been only half paying attention to this Vikings game as I've been doing the podcast. I think McCarthy looks worse than last week. It's still rough with the pressures and whatnot, but pinpoint is not exactly how I would describe what I'm watching. Sadiq says, if the Bears lose to the Matt Eberflus Cowboys, man, ... which I highlight that one just because how glorious. First, there's another pick by McCarthy, it looks like. Not sure that was his fault, but I'm going to say it was because a couple of picks is exactly what you want from another young quarterback in the NFC North. You know the Bears have to lose that game because pain is all they know in finding different... Oh, that was just a great... it bounced off the ground. Finding different ways to make the Bears fans feel pain and the Bears to be humiliated is what they do best. And to fire Matt Eberflus because he's this big, stupid, incompetent jagoff, this is according to Bears fans, and then have them go there... Oh, man, they're going to be fired up for that game. First, think about how much Bears fans hate Matt Eberflus, but not only that, they gave the Packers Micah Parsons. The Bears and Bears fans are going to hate Detroit or Dallas with an unparalleled passion, and that's how you know they're going to lose it. They have to lose that game. The only way that they're going to win that game is if somehow that ends up giving them some kind of hope, which will create further and more agonizing pain down the road. But I think losing to Dallas would hurt more, and so it just has to be that way. Another video, again, I won't play the whole thing, I'll just read it. This is from CHGO. Lance Briggs, former Chicago Bear, says, on Montez Sweat, am I a premier player or am I just a guy? Because right now you look like just a guy getting paid premier money. So even the players are starting to get just eaten up. It's not enough to to just go after Ryan Poles or whatever. No, we're going to find all the guys and just be like, you know what? You all suck. Screw you too. Dan Durkin says the Bears are now 3-17 versus the NFC North in the Ryan Poles era. Infante says the Bears are spending the 5th most amount of money on defense in the NFL, by the way. Keep that in mind when you watch this piss-poor unit on the field. Top comment, King Poles does it again. Katie says, go F yourself, Chicago Bears. And she tagged the Chicago Bears. And I couldn't help but laugh because it just dawned on me. You probably got some, 19-year-old social media manager that went out and got her little venti latte, caramel soy macchiato, whatever. I don't know if that's a phrase. But she gets to her little desk, and she sits down all excited to engage with all the great fans. She opens up her laptop and says, let's see what's going on Twitter. And just sees, go F yourself. Oh, man. She will need to be on antidepressants real soon. Now, before we get into this massive onslaught of Bears fans turning on their GM, finally, I don't even think it's the first time they've done that, but whenever they have hope, they just pretend, oh, I always loved that guy, until things go south and they need a scapegoat, and then they go that direction. Burns says, people keep asking, why did Bears fans have hope this year? Why wouldn't you, he says. Offensive line equals went and overhauled it. Again, as I said, Bears fans have no capacity to understand that different doesn't mean better. They're two different things. We overhauled the offensive line. So what? So what? You changed players. Are they any good? Well, yeah, I mean, somebody on Twitter told me it's the number 1 center in football. Okay. Well, you know he can't pass block. Well, who says PFF? Yes, and PFF is where people found out that he was the quote-unquote number 1 center. That's where that comes from. So you decide whether PFF is stupid or not, dummy. Goes on to say coaching equals got the best candidate and a great staff. Well, you don't know if you got the best candidate or the best staff. This is the problem. As Bears fans, you listen to people tell you that everything you did was the best, and then you believe it. And then when people say, why did you have so much hope? You say, well, because all these things, and you just regurgitate what everybody told you that you decided to believe. Nobody knew if he was the best coach or going to be the best coach. Nobody knew that. It was a guess. You know how many times great coaches or great prospects or big free agents or whatever don't pan out? A ton. All the freaking time. In fact, the last coach you got was supposed to be kind of a phenom. So how do you not figure this stuff out? And what do you mean great staff? What are you talking about? Same exact thing. You don't know that it's a great staff. Quarterback equals Caleb going into his second year after looking decent in year 1. Okay, going into year 2 doesn't necessarily mean anything. You can't just keep assuming that everybody going into year 2 is better than year 1 and year 2 or year 3 is better than year 2. It's not how that works. Sometimes that's how it works. Sometimes they get worse. Sometimes they stay the same. Also, he did not look decent year 1. Those are more lies that people in your Bears bubble tell you. Defense equals thumbs up. What frickin' world are you living in? The defense fell apart after Eberflus left. So, yeah, everybody's asking you why you keep believing. And the answer, if you're answering honestly, is because you believe what everybody tells you in your little Bears bubble. You either need to get outside your bubble or start doing your own honest evaluation. Honest, not biased, unbiased. He comments on it and says, honestly, I think the issue is it's just because they're the Bears. In other words, I'm right about everything I said here, but it's the Bears and they're cursed. Nope. The answer isn't I'm right, but magic happened. You were wrong. You were wrong last time and the time before that and the time before that, and you're going to be wrong again next year because you don't know how to learn anything, Bears fan. All right, let's get into some of this good old juicy Ryan Poles stuff, who, by the way, has been a terrible GM since day one. The guy has never really done anything right. There's been serious questions by me and a lot of other people kind of since day one. Even when you look at some of the decisions that didn't seem terrible, you kind of are like, I don't know about all that. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. You know what I mean? But they were convinced it was genius, right? Going and making that trade, getting DJ Moore and all that. Oh, that was genius. You don't want Stroud? No. DJ Moore and the haul. It's all about the haul. Okay. Well, after years and years of fighting about how great King Poles is, which is what they call him, let's see what they're saying today. Ficky says through 2 games, Colston Loveland, that's the guy the Bears drafted in the first round, a tight end, not usually super advisable. Sometimes it pans out, not usually. Also, the guy that was not expected to go first, 12 yards. Tyler Warren, the other tight end that went in the first round that was expected to go first, 150-plus yards. Brendan Segru says Phil Emery drafted 4 Pro Bowl players in 3 years. Ryan Pace drafted 7 Pro Bowl players, Mitch included, in 7 years. Ryan Poles has yet to have one of his players make the Pro Bowl in 3+ years. You can use other criteria, but as of now, scouting is a problem for this team. Aaron Lemming says, I'm having a really hard time understanding how Ryan Poles has had 4 top 10 picks and 7 second-rounders, plus an insane amount of space in 3 of his 4 off-seasons, and yet his team lacks true difference makers. Instead, he was extended to 2029. Michael Gus, Ryan Poles is now 15-38 despite having the first pick 2 years in a row and conceding the entire first year to clean up all bad cap. Somehow, they've lost 12 of their last 13 despite stumbling into a generational quarterback/head coach. He had the 10th pick and 3 second-rounders today who literally failed to make the stat sheet, partially because 2 of them were healthy scratches. Fire him today. Jake says 2022, they need 2 legit offensive tackles and a stud pass rusher. 2023, they need 2 legit offensive tackles and a stud pass rusher. 2024, they need 2 legit offensive tackles and a stud pass rusher. 2025, they need 2 legit offensive tackles and a stud pass rusher. Ryan Poles isn't just bad, he's a dumb. I'm guessing that's not what he meant to type there, which is funny. To be fair, I just want to clear up. We are saying that all the things they did to fix the offensive line didn't fix it, because every year I was told the Bears fixed their offensive line. But yet he's stupid because he didn't actually go out and do that, which is weird, because then it would kind of seem to me that Bears fans are stupid for believing that he did do that. Is that not correct? I feel like it's kind of correct. Bill Zimmerman says after today, Ryan Poles will have a 28.3% winning percentage. That's 4.8 wins per season. He was extended. Dan Durkin says no GM has done less with more than Ryan Poles, which is very true when you look at all the draft capital he's had. Imagine. In fact, I don't need to imagine. One of the things I will be doing, not tonight, is going back and looking at different decisions they could have made with those picks and who could be on their roster right now. Sadiq says Ryan Poles is getting fired for sure. Cream Sleeve says, oh yeah, another thing. Hey Ryan Poles, where is Ozzy? Where is Shamar? Where is Kiran? Where is Tyler Scott? What about Zach Pickens? Where is Chase Claypool? How's Tariq doing today? 4th rounder for some squibs? Starts with you. Can play chess with checker pieces. You got no kings. It's pretty fair points. Here's Jack. Says Bears 2025 draft class. Colston Loveland, 0 targets, 0 receptions. Luther Burden, 1 reception, 5 yards. Ozzie Trapillo, healthy scratch. Shamar Turner, healthy scratch. Ryan Poles has to go. Dave says it's time to have a real conversation about the Bears GM Ryan Poles, senior writer for the NFL for SM. I don't know what SM is. Irish Bears Network. Ryan Pace was a bad GM. He was a better GM than Ryan Poles. That's not even close. Jake says Ryan Poles needs to be fired. This Day in Chicago Sports says, how does Ryan Poles have a job? Eddie from Barstool says the Bears gave Ryan Poles an extension 2 months ago. Most laughable stuff ever. Ben Devine, he's a guy, right? Yeah, 20,000 followers, Chicago Bears insider. Give me your thoughts about Ryan Poles. Be honest. Comments. Auto draft would have yielded a better team at this point. Signing him to an extension is awful and embarrassing. They have no respect for their fans. The Loveland over Warren may turn out to be the worst of it all. A child in way over his head. He's got to go tonight. McCaskey needs to sell the team tonight. Time to go. As a GM, he is a great capologist. Maybe, something. I don't know. Fire him. I don't give a darn. I'm sick of losing. Sucks, you know what, and we all already knew that. He needs to go. Trying to skip all the swears here. Freaking sucks. What happened to the let Poles cook comments? Should have gotten the boot with Flus. Seems like a nice guy, but not a good GM. He has a ton of draft capital that is basically wasted on guys not making any impact. Apparently he likes projects over proven prospects. We've heard that before. Couldn't manage a peewee football team to more than 5 wins in 5 years. Can't draft well. If a GM can't draft well, they are worthless. Somebody should tell the Vikings that. And on it goes. Well, I think there's about 1 quarter left of this football game. We might as well hate watch this together for a little bit. I think we've made our point here with Chicago. It's almost too bad that they're so bad, because this used to last longer. You know, there was the off season where I'd be animated about how much I'd get into fights with Bears fans and they don't know what they're talking about. And then it was like the entire season that I'd be fighting with Bears fans about stuff. And maybe by a week 15, 16, 17, whatever, they start to be like, okay, fine, I hate everything. I hate this team, whatever. Now it's week 2. It's week 2. Oh, I got to find the meme, don't I? Can the Vikings have another amazing comeback? Can J.J. McCarthy do it again? And he fumbled. All right. Bro, it is wild. I hate to sound like a Bears fan for J.J. McCarthy, but the number of just unblocked guys just rocking this dude. They're only missing 1 offensive lineman, right? They're not missing him in terms of like they're running with 4 offensive linemen, are they? Interesting. Now the Falcons need to put this freaking game away, dude. I feel like the Falcons have been the better team all game, and it is a 6-point game. You're starting in their territory. Here goes another. Every time I look up, you got Bijan running for like 20, 30. Like, okay, they're going to drive all the way down. Oh, there's a turnover. Oh, there's stupid nonsense. Here's a freaking stupid field goal. All right, first down. Come on. See if we can get touchdowns in this freaking league, huh? Man, Falcons' offensive line sucks too. Jeez. Bijan out there making guys miss like crazy, still losing 3, 4, 5 yards. Frickin' center. Oh, it's annoying. And a big sack, and now they're getting out of field goal range. This is ridiculous. 15-6. All right, whatever. Yeah, speaking of that amazing accuracy, had Jalen Naylor with about 5 steps on a guy. Walk-in touchdown, overthrew him. The Falcons are just gashing them right now. This is pretty beautiful. There's a little under 5 minutes left. Up by 9, so there's 2-score lead. The crowd is just completely demoralized at this point. The defense is demoralized. The head coach looks like a jagoff. The guy is just... Watching him with J.J. McCarthy just reminds me of like one of those dads that's way too into sports. And his son is like trying his best and, you know, is maybe just not doing super great. He made a mistake, and the dad is just disgusted with him. That's what I feel like I'm watching with that relationship. Ha! Got the Vikings with a jump on a 4th down hard call. Way to lose your game. And there's the touchdown. There is your dagger. Oh boy, Aaron Jones is out, and backup left tackle School is also out. So they're on left tackle number 3. It's going to be an important development beyond this game. If you have no Aaron Jones and are down a couple tackles, I'm not sure the status of their starting tackle. McCarthy just threw a pick. Might have thought it was a free play that's coming back, but that was an ugly throw. Penalty on Minnesota on an illegal shift. What a terrible throw. Holy crap, this guy might suck like a lot. Jeez. Minnesota Vikings were able to only put up 6 points against the Falcons. The other thing that's great about this is not a game they lose last year at all. We basically only got to do laughing at the enemy at the Bears, and that was it. The Vikings and Lions won like all their games. The Lions already dropped a game. The Vikings have now already dropped a game, and it's to the Falcons, who honestly didn't look that good. If this is the best the Vikings can do, even if you want to say that their defense looks pretty good, maybe, I don't know. That offense is putrid. And so it's looking right now like the Bears and Vikings might just be bad. Lions will have to see, but the good news is we already beat them. So even if they go on some kind of a win streak, what leverage do they have? Nothing. The Packers have to lose 2 games before they can overtake them, and that assumes the Lions go undefeated from here on out, and all they did was beat a garbage Bears team. J.J. McCarthy was 11 of 21 for 158 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 6 sacks, 37.5 passer rating. Holy crap. That is so bad. Whoo, baby. As for their rushing offense, Mason ran for 30 yards, Aaron Jones for 23, J.J. McCarthy 25. Oh, that is appalling. Holy cow. Justin Jefferson managed 3 receptions for 81 yards, which is decent, but obviously, considering that is 50% of the total yards receiving, nobody else did anything. McCarthy also with a lost fumble on the day. Boy, oh boy, that is just terrible. I tell you what, this is shaping up to be a nice-looking season. We'll take a little bit of a closer look tomorrow at, who their upcoming opponents are, who our upcoming opponents are. We already kind of did, but a little closer to maybe project out a few more weeks. But I gotta go to bed. It is late. I haven't even uploaded Packing It After Dark, and it's after 10, so I gotta get rocking. You have a good one. Bye-bye.